since primarily this is a video blog I'm deigning to call a talk show, we're going to do some blogging right now. Or blogging. I don't know which one, but it's weird because blog in itself was a word, and then video blogging, and then... Never mind. Anyways. Where's a good way to start this? Anyways, yesterday a gentleman came into the shop, and we had a discussion about life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness, and all that jazz, you know. Religion, abortion, race, you name it. Number one, as most of my customers can attest, I won't have these discussions. Number one, it's a lot of emotional labor, and number two, I just want to do my job and get out. Customer, sir, gentleman, though, has been a customer for a while. Now, he claims the entirety of A1 Blueprint, but I've only seen him really in the past couple of years, and look, he's a nice guy, decent guy. We have a difference in ideology, but he's always treated me respectfully and continues to do so. He was one of the first customers to ask what my preferred pronouns were before I'd even started hormones, so there's that. I don't know why I feel the need to preface all this, and yet I do know why. So, there's all of that. And I generally have positive feelings towards this gentleman. So anyways, yesterday, we had a conversation, and he told me some of the heartbreaking things he went to regarding these discussions on one of the issues I had just listed earlier. But then we got to race and talking about violent versus nonviolent protesting and pulling all that crap from get away from the mainstream media news. I was going to drink some of that Kool-Aid. I wasn't even going to sip it. Probably because it didn't have near enough sugar as it should have, but I digress. I can't remember what was specifically said, something regarding the type of culture they're raised in that wants them to attack cops. And I just said, we're going to stop this conversation right there. You're going to leave. And it wasn't disrespectful. We had been talking for 30 minutes. He'd already gotten his prints. And look, that was my boiling point. Nothing disrespectful. He didn't use that word. But it was the casual racism, which I had to correct him on. And finishing the discussion with, I didn't know a lot of these things, interaction with cops, etc., until recently when my friends told me. And I'm pretty sure it was that comment, because I was able to maintain it while he was like, if that culture didn't do that, I corrected him. But it was that comment, not knowing until his friends brought it up to him this year, that made me say we're going to leave it right there, because the anger, frustration, everything just welled up inside of me, and I wouldn't be able to continue having a discussion. My emotions were already all over me, and I had already had to contain anger and frustration so many times. And luckily the phone rang, and I had to take it, and we parted. So... And then I started crying. And I already knew that I was going to cry, as the conversation was progressing, not because of anything specifically he said. I continue to say, it was the casual racism where you don't even know that you're being racist until somebody does correct you. But yeah, I started crying. Because here's the other thing. I'm physically incapable of having an emotionally charged discussion without crying. It's why I don't argue or debate, because once my emotions have gotten on a certain threshold, I'm going to cry. So I already knew I was going to have a few tears. It was already a lot of emotional labor just pointing out the casual racism and saying, oh, look, I'm going to correct you right there. I'm going to correct you right here. And I consciously chose to engage at the beginning of this discussion because I try and make my engagements very selective so that I do have the emotional energy to deal with the aftercare, because for me, there's always aftercare. For anyone, there's aftercare. But y'all, this idea of, I didn't know about things until recently. No, you can't possibly know another person's existence until you consider it. But it was in a moment I realized, it was in a moment of him realizing my own humanity. I've been operating in this country in a way to not make me noticeable or take up too much space, because most of the time I'm scared about safety. That's right. It may not look like it, but I operate most of the time from a quasi-state of fear, and how can I be safe? 1 out of 7, and that's the statistics. And I'm reminded of that statistic in just this past week, the video that came out about the trans woman who was attacked on the street. I'm angry and frustrated at the cavalier way he handled the discussion, as though it was theoretical, and trying to explain to me what racism actually is. Now, that was the first moment I felt the anger rise up and said, as someone who's lived in this country as a black male, I think I know a bit about racism. Look, yesterday was a lot to unpack, and I'm not even sure if I'm making coherent sense, but again, I've got a video blog that I'm deigning to call a talk show, so here I am just talking it out, aren't I? And there's plenty more written in my journal than I'm talking about here because it's just a lot. Like when black people say we are tired, we tired. And there are people out there doing a lot more work than I am. And the only reason I feel like I have these conversations when I choose to is that there's something in the other person I value. I mean, all life has value, yes, but there's a connection there. Like, I see something in this other person. I see someone I'd like to be friends with, but it's like we're going to have to start at this basic agreement on some basic human rights and issues and things going on in this country. And if you're saying to me, like, I'm just now seeing these issues when I can remember the first time I was scared of racism, I was 4 years old. So, yeah, if we're going back that far, then it's mind-boggling. And the other thing, too, is if you're going to say you're a Christian, then I need you to be a bit more Christ-like and less Old Testament God. I grew up Christian. I don't identify as Christian, but I do identify as spiritual and culturally Christian and all that other jazz, but that's not important. Like, you do you, I'll do me. Just if you're going to say that you're a Christian, just be more Christ-like. Think of that quote that Gandhi said about the Christians. That's a huge digression. So that's where I am today. Also, this morning I woke up and I tried washing my hair and fixing it. Like, no, this is a wig. But instead, after washing it and starting to blow dry it, I just texted my stylist and asked when could I finally come in. Because I'm also dealing with the anxiety of a worldwide pandemic in addition to all of this other crap. And I also haven't been to my stylist in months, and I also need to reschedule my dentist appointment. Y'all, I'm maintaining, and I'm doing my best. There are days where it is bearing the lightness of being, and then, for me, I have to remind myself that I'm not helpless, that I'm not cornered, that I have choices and options. And I'm quite fortunate. Feeling a bit shitty, but that's okay. Because I've learned for me, when I'm feeling cornered, helpless, and all that, that leads to a very sad state of depression for me. I don't know about you all. So anyways, feeling a bit shitty, but that's okay. There's a lot going on in the world. It's okay to feel a bit shitty. And people of color, it's okay to feel extra a bit shitty because we're processing a lot. And black people, I'm just going to give y'all a hug. Go listen to Beyonce's Black Parade. Even though, yes, okay, so she suffered a bit of a dragging in yesterday's episode, but that's neither here nor there. Like, we love her. We want to see her do better, and she can do better. Acting. Great singer. Phenomenal performer. Anyways, at any rate, I love you all. I hope you have enjoyed some of the other content I've finally been able to bring to you, because really I'm so sick of hearing my own voice, except for when I need to get on a soapbox and things like that. And I'm recording more interviews than I can actually keep up, but I'm having fun figuring it all out. Except for today. There's just a lot of processing going on, and I'm just feeling so struggly right now. So that's okay. Today's the day. But I'm going to keep on bearing lightness of being. And I hope that you all do too. I love you all, and until next time. Also, let's just talk about this project for a quick second. Like, the Laramie Project. Wow. I just want to turn your attention to Sherry Johnson. Yes. Not gonna put anything out there. I just want to say struggling hard, and last night I reached a character breakthrough. Alright. Love you.